Okay, everyone. So, hello. Good afternoon. I'm Sarah. I represent ICN, that stands for Impossible Cloud Network. More than happy to have everyone with me today on stage to talk about the difference between DePIN and traditional infrastructure. So, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lovely conversation. I still think that we are waiting for a couple of other guests to join, as usual, having some technical difficulties here on the background, but pretty sure that we are going to be able to fix all of that. So I think we can get started. And just to say that I'm very excited to have this conversation. We have a lineup of speakers of very different backgrounds and industries. I think you guys are going to enjoy a lot this conversation because we are going to touch on a lot of different points of view when it comes to the DePIN scenario and how can we involve and innovate in this space. So I think we can start with our co-host, maybe Crust Network, if you don't mind. Maybe share a couple of words on what you guys are doing, a quick introduction, and then we can take it from there.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. I am Samir and I am from Crest Network, working as a community manager there. So what is Crest Network about? It focuses on decentralized storage network for Web3. It is designed to realize the core values of decentralization, privacy, and assurance. Crest supports multiple storage layer protocols such as the IPFS and exposes instantly accessible on-chain storage functions to all its users.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm pretty sure that we are going to dive deep in all of that in our conversation. So I guess now we have everyone with us. So maybe Mani, do you want to go next, please, and explain all about the Nexgen cloud?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm Mani Masafi. I lead the global enterprise team at Nexgen Cloud. And Nexgen Cloud, our mission is to democratize the access to a sustainable AI infrastructure. The democratization part is that we have an on-demand platform that enables anyone to come spin up and build MVPs, have their POCs. We then offer dedicated environments and then also build very large clusters at scale for dedicated environments for customers. However, we also serve as the backbone of many partners in the industry, marketplaces, decentralized platforms who leverage our infrastructure via their own platforms to serve their own customers. And now, while we all love decentralized platforms, there are many customers, especially when it moves towards enterprise, that do prefer SLAs in place, and that's where we come in with our partners and add that edge and that extra service with our SLAs to make sure that our partners can actually serve enterprise customers or customers that have certain legal requirements, geographical requirements, together with SLAs. It's a brief introduction.
Thank you. And you touched on a very important word. For sure, we are all crazy and enthusiastic about decentralization. For sure, I think this is what brings us together here, and the reason why we spend so much time doing some research around these topics and trying to dig deep on how we can innovate in these scenarios. So thank you so much for being here. And maybe next we can have a word from Kaisar Network, if you don't mind.
Hey guys, GM. Nice to meet you all, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Leonie. I'm one of the co-founders of Kaisar Network, and what we do is that we are building a GPU as a service protocol, incentivizing both GPU providers and end users. It is specifically built and optimized for decentralized computing and AI. Our aim is to reshape the future of decentralized computing by harnessing AI and blockchain to aggregate spare GPU resources. And when we talk about GPU, we can imagine enterprise grade GPUs like the H100, H200, or consumer grade GPU, for example, like your MacBook, your PC gamers, things like that. And we're gonna offer these GPU resources at a significant reduced cost, and we're gonna also reward different stakeholders of our network for providing their GPUs or computation resources. That's what we do.
Fantastic. Can't wait to learn more and how we can apply this to the industry that is evolving so much. So and now Carl from Symmetric Research. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly, but I guess you can.
No, it's perfect. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. Carl from Symmetric Research, and I have a long standing history with Nexgen Cloud as well. This is kind of how it came to pass, and we I was working with them a lot to support data centers in the traditional sense. But I came from a Web3 background originally. But a lot of those pains that we kind of experienced within Nexgen and a lot of the kind of pain that I experienced within the Web3 space as well, it just kind of gave birth to this idea. And so what we're looking to do is create a standardized global market for compute resources. We're not looking to build a product. We're not looking to build anything else. We're looking to build an abstraction of what compute will be, to come up by that and support it with a global exchange as well.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, Sergio from Aquasave.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be in this space. Thank you for having me. I am the CEO of Aquasave, and what we propose in Aquasave is to create the largest network of IoT devices that monitor water in different contexts. And the idea is that from our project we can save water and have better manage of this resource that is very important for life. For this, what we do is include technologies like blockchain, smart data analysis, and we also include the concept DePIN, the centralized physical infrastructure, for reward the users that share the information in our token, AquaCoin. And interesting about our project, about our technology, the first device that we are going to launch allow us to save water when we are waiting for the hot water, and we also generate a water footprint certificate that could be traded in the carbon credit market and also the water credit market as revenue from the savings. So happy to share this space. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And actually, I was thinking of us making like a round of introductions and explaining very briefly like your journey into the DePIN ecosystem or the traditional infrastructure, right? To see exactly why you are in this space and why DePIN is such a new angle that you guys want to explore. But I was just checking the comments. I'm not gonna lie. For me, this was one of the best comments so far. And of course, we only started 10 minutes ago, right? So, please make sure that you make even more comments better than this one. But what is the simplest way to explain DePIN to my parents? I mean, I've been working for Web3 for 5 years now. I'm not gonna lie. My family doesn't know exactly what I'm doing here. Even being nominated Forbes 30 under 30, all of that, receiving all these awards and achieving amazing results, they still don't know exactly what blockchain is, but that's a different conversation. But I would like to launch this challenge for all of you as speakers to try to like simple words to explain what is DePIN and how can we explain this like to a traditional mind and like a common human being. I don't know who wants to go first. Should I just put someone in the spotlight or? Okay, fantastic. You can go, Leonie. Yeah.
Amazing. Right. So I think that the terms DePIN, it's not here like a couple of years ago, like before when we at Kaisar when we worked on this kind of use case, IoT X blockchain, right? We call it machine-fi economy. It's only like for 18 months now that DePIN, the word DePIN exists. So I think how to simplify these terms, I would say DePIN is how we manage physical access by using blockchain technology. So that is the basic, meaning of DePIN. So if we go a little bit deeper, I would say, unlike traditional systems where one company controls everything, with DePIN, it actually spreads out ownership and management across many independent operators, right? And that's how I tend to explain it to my parents. And I just talk about blockchain technology, ownership, and management, so that they can understand a little bit more about where the world is going with this technology.
Perfect. And do you think they get it? Like, is it easy to explain, or you just get tired eventually?
Yeah. Well, so my parents, they are businessmen, businesswomen, so I
Okay.
tend to explain with their business use case, because if I just say blockchain in general, they would not understand because they don't use technology at all in their daily life. I think the thing that they use is Word and Excel and maybe PowerPoint, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So for example, with my mother, I would explain that so with all the machines that she worked with in order to make clothes, we can take data from those machines, and this is actually something that we already do in the past, right? Like currently, it's called IoT, and how we proceed with these data and how we split the ownership of these data, we can actually use the technology blockchain on top of it. And I just gave examples like that, and she understood.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy, actually. Thank you so much for sharing. So I don't know if any of you guys wants to add something into this, like any funny story, or should we jump to another topic? Oh, I guess not. Okay, so going back to the initial question, that is, if you don't mind just sharing a little bit, like very briefly, your story and your journey into the DePIN ecosystem or the traditional infrastructure, and why are you so much motivated to enter into this space and explore different collaborations, partnerships, and also launching new projects? Maybe we can start with the Nexgen Cloud, if you don't mind, since you are at my right. Or we can go to Crust Protocol Network.
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry.
So I guess my journey into the DePIN ecosystem began quite recently, and it began with a strong interest in, I guess, decentralization and, I guess, working in the traditional infrastructure. I saw that like the limitation it faces, especially around the data privacy and security, and that sort of motivated me to explore how decentralized solutions work. And Crust Network, for example, with its focus on decentralized storage, offers the unique opportunity to push the boundaries of what's currently possible on the Web3, and that like align very well with my passion for creating a more secure internet, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, makes total sense. And what about you, Sergio? How do you end up building this company that allows you to save water, still gain rewards, and also to just push for the data that is associated with our water consumption?
Yeah, well, there is two stories, I think, here. One is my story, and the other one is the story of the co-founders. So I could start with mine. So in my case, I am engineer. Since I was a kid, I like it to create things, robotics, and I have these passions for the technology, you know. And this is because I study mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, and also I finished doing a PhD in computing science. And the funny story is that some of my friends, my childhood friends, also have this passion about technology, and we joined together in different DePIN projects like Helium, Planet Watch, or WeatherXM, when these projects start. And we saw that this technology, DePIN, will be something that probably is going to change the world in a few years, and we saw a big opportunity there. As soon as some of them, or some of us, we have the background and we already work with this IoT technology and blockchain in the past, we have the experience, the background to lead a project like Aquasave. We found a nice opportunity also to have with our project a big impact in the planet. So we start thinking what we can do, what devices we can generate, and from this we create Aquasave, and all the concept and develops included in our project.
Okay. Very cool.
Sorry,
Thank you.
did you mention me? I'm sorry, I
Yes,
missed that.
yes. It was the company name, but yeah, no worries at all. Now we will use Mani from now on. No worries. But thank you so much for sharing, Sergio. And actually, Mani, since you are already on, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey and how you end up working in the DePIN space?
Yeah, so there is two parts. So on behalf of Nexgen Cloud started in the Web3 space, providing infrastructure for larger projects like Filecoin. And so the founders, Chris and Julian, both had a background in the Web3 space. Naturally, with the shift with the AI requirements, we then, build the infrastructure for our partners, for marketplaces, and also then created HyperStack Cloud for the democratization of AI infrastructure. And for my side, I've done at Oracle, I used to lead teams who sold traditional infrastructure, the highest performing databases and infrastructure, and coming back to the whole DePIN proposition, right? So it goes hand in hand with giving power to the people. If you are starting your business and you're on one of the clouds, we saw during how people are in this cancel culture, how people are getting canceled, where companies can get canceled as well. And having that single point of failure, whether within a cloud provider, will create that. Now, that's why many companies are using multi-cloud environments. But that's why DePIN is so important to, for sovereignty of your information and of your existence of a smaller business or as a business in general. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Thank you so much. Carl, do you want to go next and share a little bit more
Sure, sure.
about you?
Yeah, sure. So, I've been in the space quite a while, the Web3 space, probably since around 2013, something along those lines personally, as a thing. So I've always been a really strong believer in this space. And just to kind of harken back to your question about like how do you explain this to your parents, how I always explain it is like if you think about like the Web 2 world, it's a read and write world, right? And it's a very common example. And in the Web 3 space, it's a read write own world. And I think it's super important with the DePIN journey and the way that they're contributing towards the broader market. In the people who are going to be leveraging the general public more compute through AI, through recommendation engines, through digital twins, climate change, whatever it would be, they also now have an opportunity to earn a stake within the infrastructure that they're contributing to, and they contribute from that, and they can receive economic rewards. They can receive credit for solving particular problems within the space. So I've always been quite big on that. And when we put Symmetric together, which is a while back now, we were always just thinking about how do we, because this could have been just a purely traditional finance style project. but it just lends itself so well to the blockchain. If you think about what we're doing on the base level in compute and in the Web3 space, we are arbitraging tokens, right? Like compute tokens have been arbitraged. Your value or whatever it would be on top of that, like if that's a generative AI platform or if that's some sort of farming or whatever it would be in that space, you add that value on it and you bring it through. But the intricate nature of being able to kind of bring token for token, it also adds this extra dimension to the compute world, right? In terms of the sense that compute is it's just in time in its nature, but the blockchain allows you to almost freeze that within time, and it gives it this extra dimensionality that we hope will lead to people being able to financially express themselves more about what they think the market is and what the price of these things could be.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Leonie, if you want to share some of your journey and past experience and how do you end up building this amazing network that is Kaisar?
Yeah, 100%. So actually my background is IoT engineer. So I've been working with machines, for quite some times, and my co-founders, their backgrounds are more in AI and, AI space. So what can I say about that? So it's very interesting about how we end up here with Kaisar working on, technologies, IoT, X, AI, X blockchain. A few years ago when we were working on a thesis, IoT X blockchain, we kind of imagined the MachineFi economy, which is now DePIN, would be building a huge bridge between the Web 2 and the Web 3 space. And this is exactly what is going on, with all of these, applications that the DePIN sectors and RWA, players are building. So, yeah, I would say that my experience with Web3 is pretty much more on the study side, to be honest with you guys, for start. Also doing a PhD in AI at the moment. So there are a lot of different subjects to study. But what I can say is that I think DePIN is headed for a real bright future, because when I see all of those different applications that different players are building in this space right now, it's really I would say heartwarming to see that. That's all I can say.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And I don't know if you guys think the same way, but I mean, I keep saying that everyone that is working in Web3, blockchain, now DePIN, right? Because it's a very recent term. I think we are all writing history without knowing it, right? At least I keep saying this, and I have a strong opinion about this. So that being said, I would like to touch on the next topic that is, and maybe we can start with you, Leonie, already, like if you're already with the mic on, in your opinion, like what are some of the biggest challenge or surprise that you encounter in the past or even right now when trying to transitioning from the traditional infrastructure to the DePIN or vice versa? If you have any concrete examples that you would like to raise and share with the rest of the audience.
Yeah, 100%. I think the only thing that I can mention is the reputation. So when we talk about, the differences between a DePIN or a traditional business model, we can name a lot of advantage, pros and cons, with two models, especially a lot of advantage for the DePIN model, because we can have more incentivized program, and we can split ownership, a lot of different things. But there is one thing that the traditional players, they've been having and they have been building for decades, is the reputation. So the reason why that all of these project in DePIN, especially DePIN Compute, like Kaisar, like IONET, Ether Cloud, or other projects who are here today as well. We are offering a lot of different products that are very advanced in technology, that are very interesting, for the public, but we don't have the long-standing reputation because DePIN is new. This project are new, and enterprises, they just know about us like for a couple of months ago. But AWS, Google Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, they've been here for decades. Everybody know them, and they can just offer, credit, so that all of these AI startups and enterprises, they would go to them because they know them. So I think the question here today is, how do you build trust? Because obviously we talk about blockchain, we talk a lot about, trustless solution, right? But how do we build that reputation? How do we build that trust with our community? Because in DePIN, community could mean end users or institutional clients. That is what we need to win, and I think that is the bottleneck that we have to resolve.
100%. Yes, you are totally right. Couldn't agree more. And what about you, Sergio? Do you think you have anything to add when it comes on the biggest challenge or surprise that you believe you were able to identify by coming up with this new project that is Aquasave?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I see that there is an important thing to do, that is education. Still, the concept DePIN is something that the most of the people don't know. Is one of the main challenge that we have to attach, because although people that are into crypto, still DePIN is something that they don't know a lot, no? So when I was sharing with the friends that are not into crypto or technology, they are little shocked about how you, with a device, could generate cryptocurrencies, or how you could provide services from your devices, the devices that you buy, to the others, no? So one of the points is this education that could be faced for users, no, and also for companies and public institutions. One of the things that we face is, well, some traditional companies and public institutions still don't believe in the power of crypto, and they are little like they don't want to go with crypto if it's going to have a bad impact with them. But in this case, what we should do is we have to show all the good tools and how we, thanks to this technology, can attach issues, problems that is not possible to do with the traditional companies and technologies. And this is because right now, for example, in our case with Aquasave, we we aim to generate the largest network of IoT devices, and this is possible having a technology that have real features and functionalities like we have, and we can generate a big adoption using DePIN concept as booster, no? So for me, this required time, and I think one beautiful thing that is happening right now in the DePIN ecosystem is that the projects are joining forces, and this kind of spaces is a proof of that, for that in future this concept will be something that probably everyone knows. And there is work to do in this, but we are in the path, no?
For sure. And I mean, everything that you just mentioned, that is all about education, the change of the mindset. Absolutely. This is something that we need to be more and more involved. I mean, I guess that's the main reason why we always say yes to attend X spaces, panels, discussions, all of that, because we still have a point to prove, right? So we need to demonstrate that we are here for a reason. So still on this topic, and then I would like to change a little bit and just put on the stage Mani and Samir. Carl, do you mind sharing some of your challenges or surprises that you encounter during creating your companies and projects and setting up these new standards?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think from our perspective, we see Web 2 and Web 3 as parallel infrastructures in this respect, and there are plenty of great things that kind of exist in the Web2 space in terms of like familiar financial instruments or user interfaces or like risk management as well. It's still very good within the traditional aspect. But where we think that Web3 really adds value to these types of approaches in terms of standardization, trading, derivatives, is that there's that global accessibility, 24/7 markets, of course, as they're bringing it through. There's a much more efficient matching of supply and demand that can happen through the blockchain. And it improves the transparency and security. So we see compute as a commodity, and many of the ways that we need to get to that is that we need to improve the transparency of how that's moved, like a standardization in the price, and also like bringing down the transaction cost of that. And we just think that Web3 and the blockchain infrastructure really lend itself very well to that. And even from traditional finance trading, if you look at options and derivatives markets as they exist, blockchain essentially, if you set your smart contracts in the right way, enforces against things like commingling or securitizations that we go through, and it's just significantly more scalable. So I guess the big challenge that we always have is trying to explain to both worlds that there are benefits from both worlds, as well as the drawdowns that are well highlighted in both.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. So as I mentioned, now not so much on the challenge or surprises, but more on the lessons and what you guys have learned by working in the space. And then I would like to have Manny sharing a couple of ideas and thoughts, and also Samir, if you don't mind. So I don't know who wants to go first, but I would love to understand a little bit more about the lessons that you think were the most valuable ones across the years that you take like for life, let's say.
Sure. I mean, on the lessons side, so challenges can become lessons, right? Or should become lessons, I guess. We noticed a lot that, as Carl said just previously, it's not one or the other. It's a combination of things. And, to be able to scale rapidly without a single source of failure, we support a lot of our platform partners that actually are in the DePIN space, with our infrastructure to really get those customers in terms of trust. So, as previously mentioned, right, trust is one of those key challenges. But if you have a centralized addition, a partner that has a data center, a different location of data centers, that has SLAs in place, that can ensure guaranteed sort of output and bandwidth and compute power when needed, that combination of traditional versus futuristic infrastructure builds that trust and enables enterprises to become more open to the idea of DePIN than they may have otherwise. So it's a step-by-step process to educate enterprises, companies out there to leverage both of these options to have a robust and scalable and not monopoly run infrastructure base. Does that answer the question somewhat?
Absolutely. Yes. And what about you, Samir? Do you think you have anything that you would like to share with the audience regarding some of the lessons that, of course, can come from challenge and some obstacles that you were able to overcome, or at least to learn from them?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Mari mentioning that we should take the challenges and like learn from them, take them as lessons, because we are often facing some issues and learning from them is essential. And I guess another lesson is the importance of understanding how does decentralization, how particularly it works, how it impacts the security or the scalability. It's also crucial to stay adaptable, and we see that the DePIN space is evolving fast and rapidly. And in my opinion, flexibility is key to success. And yeah, for anyone wanting to enter this space, I recommend focusing on building strong community-driven networks, much like what we are doing at Cross Network now. And to wrap it up, I think patience and persistence are essential. And pioneering the DePIN requires navigating into the unknown, but definitely the rewards are worth it.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes we lack patience, right? People that are involved in the Web3 space, we want everything for yesterday. So that's one of our biggest issues. Okay, so the next topic that I would love to explore is that I believe that we all mentioned that DePIN is critical at this point in time, and then it's something that every physical infrastructure should try to at least understand the potential and how to collaborate with this type of technology. I would also love like a very quick answers from all of you guys to understand, in your opinion, what problems is DePIN aiming to solve in traditional infrastructures? Like very concrete examples, so that it makes it clear for the audience to understand. Okay, this is how you can interact or at least explore DePIN technology. And this is the main benefit of it. So I don't know who wants to go first, but then I will also like to make sure that we involve the audience in the conversation as well. But also, if you can just express what advice would you give to infrastructure providers who are considering to explore DePIN? So one concrete example, and then what advice you do give them to actually to explore and for them to be outside of their comfort zone and just explore new technologies. Yes, Sergio, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I would like to give the example of Aquasave. In this case, have a lot of sense because, as you are asking, thanks to this technology, the PIN, we can solve issues, problems that with traditional technologies we cannot do. No, in this case, the issue that we are attaching is the water scarcity, the bad quality of water, the increase of the demand, and this is a multifaceted issue problem. And for this, technology can do a lot. No, in our case, thanks to technology that could monitor water in real time. This is something that by now, for example, a smart meter is not doing because have batteries, and these batteries not allow you to have real-time monitoring and sense the information once per day. So in our case, thanks to our IoT devices, we could monitor the water in different contexts, not just in the houses, also in rivers, lakes, on the sea. And from this have the entire picture of what is happening, and from this have a better decision making and optimize processes from the companies, and also the public institutions don't need to, for example, in the case of this first device that we are going to launch, if everyone have this device in their houses, we can save more than 23% of the total amount of consumption in water in a city. So DePIN could be used as booster, and things that right now is difficult to generate this infrastructure to monitor, or in our case save water, thanks to DePIN, we can do.
Perfect. Who wants to go next and share some insights? Okay, maybe we can hear something. Okay, perfect.
I can go next.
Thanks.
Happy to do so. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find the button. I lost it for a second. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the DePIN space is super interesting for me on a personal level, and actually just its ability to kind of, like in traditional infrastructure, if we were trying to attempt what we're trying to do at this moment in time, it doesn't hold the kind of velocity that is required for the type of transactions that we foresee in the future. If we get into this kind of agentic future space as we go through, and we have machine economies, traditional infrastructure rails are just not built to, financial infrastructure rails are just not built to support that. The interoperability and like kind of like ecosystem expansion, things like AVS as well, for instance, like that's when we think about proof of work, I mentioned it before, you have a whole generation of at-home system admins that are there ready to deploy their sometimes their hardware, but a lot of times just their expertise into supporting that. It's like a infinitely scalable workforce that goes through. And I think the other part that's really interesting is that in terms of a lot of the kind of exchanges that exist in traditional markets that exist right now, like for commodity markets, they're actually, it's not commonly known, but they're actually kind of self-regulatory organizations. It comes with its pluses and faults, but the speed of the innovation in the blockchain space is significantly greater, but it also carries a lot of self-regulation advantages. So you can provide like built-in consensus mechanisms or automate the rule enforcement via smart contracts. Code to new law in this respect, not always the most appropriate, but it can be in that respect. And just being able to decentralize that governance as well is super important. It can just really support with, because this ecosystem is that from like in terms of compute, in terms of what Sergio and the guys are doing as well, like just having more transparency on these pieces and being able to kind of verify them a lot easier and scale them is very important.
Yeah, Manny, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add on that, I think just a very simple one, scalability, right? As Carl just mentioned, if you want to test something out, you need access to several thousands of GPUs for certain time frame. For you don't want to commit to a very long term. You want to scale it and test your hypothesis. For example, let's say a simulation for quantum computers, you would need a lot of compute for maybe an hour, and that decentralized aspect enables fast, rapid scalability to prove your concept. But then again, coming back to have that stable, 100% accurate, secure environment, you would still need to leverage traditional infrastructure. So that balance between those both is very important. But DePIN helps a lot with the speed at which you can get to market.
Absolutely. And I don't know if the rest of the guests, you guys want to add something into this topic. Otherwise, I will just focus on the magic word that is scalability, right? And how do scalability, security, and sustainability compare between DePIN and traditional infrastructure, in your opinion? How do you think these models and these topics really relate between adopting a DePIN infrastructure or a mindset and a model compared to staying on a traditional infrastructure without actually decentralize the system? How do you guys think we can achieve all of that? Scalability, security, and sustainability. Do you have anything that you would like to share on this topic?
Work with us.
Fantastic. I think that's clear. Yeah, Sergio, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to add here that, what provide to use like the tools that allow us to include blockchain and DePIN. Thanks to this, we can have a veracity and traceability of the data information, and this is something that is important in many fields, no? And in our case, for example, thanks to combine the IoT and the blockchain, as soon as we generate a platform where key players could access to information about water, we can ask this veracity of this information, and this is something that in the past, just with the IoT, is difficult to prove is real information or not, no? So this is a good point to consider about the scalability. Have a decentralized infrastructure is something that could allow us also to generate a big network than in the traditional other technologies that we use in the past. And about sustainability, of course, there is a lot that we can do as well in this phase. Thanks to, for example, in our case, our technology, we can have a good impact as well. And I saw other projects that also are doing very nice thing about this. So yeah, I think it's perfect the DePIN technology to attach these three things, no?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing and for raising your hand. You are making my job as a moderator way more easy. Thank you. So actually, because we only have 10 minutes left, I would like to end up with this question. Sorry, as you can see, I have a meeting in 10 minutes. But I would like to end up with this question, and then maybe we can raise a couple of comments that we are receiving that so far they seem very, very curious. So everything that we do, there's always two sides of the coin, right? Let's be real. We keep saying that it's all about community, and it is 100%. Then there's also, at one extent, that community can take decisions in all of the projects. And I think we all agree and we admit that, right? So my question is, very frankly, where do you see the strength and the weakness of both approaches? Like, for instance, okay, DePIN is great, explore DePIN, but also what is like the dark side, not dark side because that's too intense, but the downside of these big corporations to jump into this new world of opportunities? Very frankly, maybe I don't know if it's a question that you guys want to answer. But yeah, let me know if you have any type of insights or idea that you would like to share. Or otherwise, I will just have to say the name and then you are first to answer. Maybe Mani, Carl, Samir, anyone?
I can take it. Yeah, so it's a hard question, right? But it's an interesting one as you put it down. I think the DePIN space is actually a response to this kind of like vertical stack that's kind of almost being built up around like hyperscale and cloud provision and this kind of thing. So I think the DePIN reaction is a very natural one. It's like we're seeing, if you think back to kind of maybe, show my age now, when Firefox kind of came through, proposing this open source world as it came through, and you saw how that kind of migrated and became what it did. I think that Web3 at this moment in time, I always said when kind of AI began to take its foothold in the broader world, that Web3 had its second use case, right? Like second strong use case as we go through. Outside of financialization, now you have this ability to kind of begin to introduce lots of different ecosystem players. So I think truth is a problem that people often bring up in the traditional spaces. I think actually decentralized oracles can begin to contribute towards that, using the economics of such to kind of verify truth, and those economic disincentives also will, enforce truth as it goes through. And also from a sense that the amount that we're going to need, it really isn't going to be just purely scalable in a vertical sense. It has to become a lot more horizontal, a lot more distributed. I think that in the DePIN space right now, me personally, the real strength that I see there are, Manny mentioned earlier, inferencing it can be a good one. But also I think that synthetic data creation can also be a great place, because that verification mechanism, that feedback loop that comes through. I always say that because I see a lot of engineers at this moment in time trying to engineer humans out of the loop, right? Like to remove the reinforced learning with human feedback out of the loop and move to things like DPO. But what I actually say is that RLHF is actually like it's almost tailor-made for decentralized oracles. So there's a great partnership to be had between both sets of participants, because no one set of participants or industry is going to be able to solve this, and naturally DePIN as well as that challenge.
For sure. And thank you so much for being the brave one to answer this question. I noticed that, Samir, you were like with your hand up. I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah, I can. But then again, Carl summed it up pretty well. If I was to add, I think for the traditional infrastructure, it is strong in established reliability and scalability, and that's especially for like the larger scale centralized operations. But I think it's vulnerable to, let's say, single points of failure, and it is costly to maintain. And yeah, I think it sometimes can lack transparency. DePIN, on the other hand, that it excels like Crust network in the decentralization and the enhancing security, as well as reducing the cost using the distribution method research across the global network. But it also can face challenges, the DePIN, and some of them can be like with the adoption or the interoperability. And lastly, the maybe regulatory hurdles, because as we know, it is still an emerging technology.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that insight, Sergio. And then maybe we can take another comment, another question, and then we wrap up.
Yeah. Well, I would like to add about this. Yeah, I think DePIN is on trend. Because of this, many projects are generating. In last year, yeah, I saw so many different projects proposing very different ideas in different fields, and as other trends in the past are relation with technology, we have to think if it's necessary depend in everything. It's like, for example, right now with AI, no? It's like we have to include AI in everything, and in some cases it's not necessary or not have sense, no, to use. And in this point, there is so many crypto users that are looking for projects that which they can generate and they can win money, and sometimes we have to looking for the projects that have a real functionality, that propose something that have sense. And happen, for example, we can take as reference the .com, no? From this, after 20 years, the project that at the beginning looked like, wow, this is going to be huge. Finally, there is right now other project companies that are the ones that are leading. So for me, the important problem that we are issuing, that we have to consider is, okay, we have to propose something that real have a long-term propose, and for this, it's important as well to have on that governments help us and generate the legislation and laws that could allow us to have a success with the project that we are generating. So this is my thoughts
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. So as promised, I would like to end up with this question from the audience that we received 37 minutes ago from David, that in my opinion is a very, very, very good question. So congrats. That is, how do you guys think regulators will react to DePIN's growth? Will they try to maintain the status quo? What can be done to ensure compliance without hurting innovation? So I don't know who wants to go first, but in my opinion, it's a very, very, very good question. Thank you, David, for being involved. Maybe Kaisar Network, you have something to say around this topic. What you think?
Yeah, I think this is really an excellent question. So my personal and humble opinion is that governments, always try to put a hand on any new kind of technologies, new kind of, money making way. So I'm sure they will find a way to try to regulate DePIN. For example, I would say about identity verification, for example, right? So now we talk about DID not only for users, but also for machines. They can, try to put a hand on, data privacy and security. Because right now, for example, DePIN/AI project, what they're doing is that, a couple of projects, they are trying to, labelize, data, their data set, and also, trying to protect those data. So, AI open source, I don't know if in the future it's gonna still be a thing or not. I don't know much about this area of the thing, compliance and regulation. So that is just my personal opinions.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Manny, Carl, Samir, Sergio, do you want to share some final insights on this topic?
I mean,
Sure.
I guess. Oh, go
Please
on,
don't
Manny, please
fight.
go ahead.
No, but no, I'll do a quick one. I think innovation is always faster than policy, and that will remain the case. I think now it's very important to combine these initiatives to make sure that government follows and understands the valid use cases that there are and how they can benefit people and implement those. And it's about that collaboration, hopefully with younger MPs and more open-minded politicians that, the innovators can collaborate with them more. That would be my hope.
Thank you. Carl, do you want to add something?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm kind of a market maxi, right? I always feel like the market will determine the best course of action to be taken. But in terms of like how do you ensure compliance without hurting innovation? I mean, I spoke to it a few times before around partnership between the two spaces. There are certain clients that DePINs may get that they don't have the kind of requisite compliance in place to support that, right? Knowing where the customer or the supplier would come from, or this kind of thing there, and this is where they can actually lean on traditional cloud providers to work with that. So I think there's always this kind of like old adage of like public-private partnership. I really see it kind of evolving into a private, public, and open source partnership as you know, open source actually powers so many of the things that we do day to day, and it's not necessarily recognized in the same way, but we definitely bring a lot more structure to it in the Web3 space.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So I don't know if Samir, Sergio, if you also want to add something into this topic. Otherwise, I think we can just wrap up. It was lovely to have you here. Super excited to see where this is going and still continue to collaborate and speak with you on the side to make sure that we make all of these wonderful collaborations into life and that we offer something with very valuable to the community, that they actually see the points and the purpose of being involved. So thank you so much. I guess we will see you around, right? Probably in Singapore. This is where like all things come to life and we all met in real life. But yeah, so thank you so much for being here, everyone. I have to say that I'm very impressed about all the comments. To be honest, I think we're going to organize X Spaces every week, and maybe next week we can run the contest of like the best comment wins something. This something still needs to be clarified, but yeah, very excited about all of this, the interest and this hype going on around DePIN. So that only means that we are on the right track and doing something well. So thank you so much again, and see you around.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you
Bye.
for
Thank
having
you.
Bye.
me.
Okay.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye.